From the real reason Toothless let himself get caught to the 8 different tail fins most fans never knew existed, today we're breaking down 10 details across the entire How to Train Your Dragon franchise that change everything when you finally notice them. But first, if Stoic the Vast broke your heart, drop a Viking helmet emoji. And if you want more secrets like these, hit that subscribe button right now. Number 1. Stoic the Vast is still the most heartbreaking character in the franchise. More than a decade later, people still feel something when his name comes up, and there's a reason for that. In Race to the Edge, Stoic tames Skullcrusher bare-handed. No touching the nose, no gradual trust building. They go straight from combat to brotherhood in a single scene. It still feels ahead of its time. In the first film, Stoic believes dragons are evil. That's not stubbornness, it's everything he was taught, everything his culture built itself around. And then he watches his son risk his life to save one. That one moment cracks something open. He doesn't make a speech, he just changes, quietly, and then turns around to save Toothless himself. That single decision ends centuries of hatred between Vikings and dragons, and it comes from a father who learned to trust his son. His greatest moment is also his last. During the battle against the Bewilderbeast, he rescues Valka first, then sees Hiccup in the path of a killing blow. He doesn't hesitate for even a second. He gives his life so Hiccup can have a future, and the franchise has never fully recovered from losing him. Number 2, 3 dragons that can never truly be tamed. Ranked. Not every dragon in this franchise can be befriended. Some of them simply cannot be reached, and the reasons are fascinating. Third place, the Snow Wraith Strike Class. Pure white or icy blue scales that make it essentially invisible in its natural environment. It pairs that camouflage with heat vision, which means anything with a body temperature becomes a visible target. It can unleash rapid frost attacks from a distance. Getting close enough to attempt taming is almost impossible. Even attempting to approach one puts you at an immediate disadvantage. Second place, the Death Song. Officially classified as Untameable, it uses a hypnotic, siren-like song to draw other dragons toward it involuntarily. They can't resist it. Then, it traps them in amber resin until they die. In the series, the writers briefly cared for a Death Song hatchling. One baby kept Dragon's Edge sleepless for days with constant noise. They eventually had to risk their lives just to return it to the adult. If the baby was that much to handle, the full-grown version was never going to be anyone's companion. First place, the Screaming Death, the strongest boulder-class dragon in existence. Almost no natural predators. Uses high-frequency screams to repel anything that gets close, and its spiked tail handles anything that still manages to approach. Extremely violent. Holds grudges for an exceptionally long time. The only thing in the entire franchise capable of restraining it is its own mother. Not a rider, not an alpha, its mom. Number 3, there are 2 Titanwing dragons hidden in the movies, and most people don't know either one. The Titanwing form is the ultimate stage of dragon development, reached simply by living long enough. No special requirements, just time. Most fans assume Titanwings are rare or theoretical in the films. They're not. There are 2 of them already on screen. In How to Train Your Dragon 2, Drago's Bewilderbeast is already in its Titanwing form. That's part of why it's so much larger and more imposing than Valka's. They're not just different individuals, they're at different stages of development entirely. And in the third film, the Crimson Gory-Gutter that Snotlout rescues at the very beginning, the sheer size of that dragon isn't random. That's also a Titanwing. Both of them are introduced without any fanfare or explanation. The films just put them on screen and trust you to notice. Number 4, Toothless let Hiccup's bola hit him, and the movie tells you why. This theory changes how the entire franchise feels from the very first scene. Toothless is the fastest, most agile dragon in existence. Vikings couldn't even draw him in the manual because no one had ever gotten a clear look at him. He dodges every weapon thrown at him across 3 full films, but a teenage boy's very first successful shot, in the dark, with a self-built bola launcher, somehow takes him down perfectly. Think about what Toothless's life actually was at that point. Serving the Red Death, raiding, bringing back food or being eaten, no purpose, no freedom, no choice. He saw that bola coming, he had time to dodge. He didn't. The most important shot in the entire trilogy wasn't a lucky hit, it was a surrender. Toothless looked at that boy and decided, consciously, that this was different, that this was worth stopping for. Hiccup thought he finally hit something. What actually happened is a Night Fury chose him. Number 5, the Homecoming short explains everything about Hiccup's daughter and Toothless's son. 10 years after the third film, Snotlout misses Hookfang, but his daughter is terrified of dragons. It makes complete sense. She grew up seeing drawings of dangerous creatures. She knows her father lost his foot because of a dragon. She's never experienced what he experienced. She only inherited the consequences. Meanwhile, Toothless misses Hiccup. He draws him in the sand. His children see the drawing, and one of them becomes deeply curious. Curious enough to convince his brothers to fly to the island, sneak in, and quietly watch Hiccup from a distance. When Toothless discovers what they did, he's furious. But since he's already there, he visits Snotlout's family, And that single unexpected visit, Toothless choosing to appear, choosing to be gentle, is what breaks the fear Snotlout's daughter had carried her whole life. She didn't learn to love dragons from a story. She learned because Toothless showed up and reminded her family of what he and Hiccup had. Those we love are always close by. Number 6. Drago's bullhook is the real reason the Bewilderbeast lost. There's a detail in How to Train Your Dragon 2 that most people miss entirely, and it reframes the entire final battle. When Valka's Bewilderbeast and Drago's press their tusks together, look closely at Drago's dragon's tusk. There's already a visible crack running through it before the fight even escalates. Drago's weapon of choice was the bullhook, a heavy metal staff with a curved hook at the end, used to stab the most sensitive areas of a dragon's body, around the eyes, the nose and mouth, the neck. He used pain to establish authority. He had been doing this to his Bewilderbeast since it was young. The tusks show the damage. Metal reinforcements were added at some point, likely because the abuse had already compromised the bone underneath. By the time of the battle, those tusks had endured years of punishment, combat, and continued abuse. They were already structurally broken. Toothless's plasma blast didn't defeat an intact, healthy dragon. It finished off something that Drago had been quietly destroying for years. And that Bewilderbeast, having received nothing but cruelty from its master since birth, bowed to Toothless in the hidden world without hesitation. Because for the first time in its life, someone had actually freed it. Number 7. 3 details in the films that reward anyone who watches closely. These are the kinds of details that only show up after multiple rewatches. And once you see them, they don't leave. Fishlegs has a tattoo. Look at his arm. It's modeled after Meatlug. He probably drew it himself, based on her. Throughout the entire series, he calls her a good girl constantly, talks about her like she's the most important thing in his world, and then quietly got her face permanently on his arm. In How to Train Your Dragon 3, the small dragon Fishlegs carries around with him, that's Meatlug's baby. He brought her offspring with him on the mission. He never explained it. It's just there. And Nuffnut's crescent-shaped pendant, the one he wears almost constantly, belonged to Tuffnut. Before Nuffnut was born, Tuffnut was almost always seen wearing it. And in the 3rd film, Hiccup calls Tuffnut his best friend. The most reasonable conclusion? Tuffnut is Nuffnut's godfather, and the necklace was his gift when the baby was born. None of these moments are announced. They're just quietly there, trusting you to find them. Number 8. Toothless has 8 different tail fins. Here's what each one does. Most fans know about 1 or 2. The full list is remarkable. The original brown tail fin, basic flight control and balance, nothing more. The red type 1, more durable, designed for combat conditions. The red type 2, seen in both the 2nd film and Race to the Edge, built for high precision aerial combat and extreme maneuvers. The black automatic tail fin from the 3rd film, metal frame with a dragon scale fireproof coating. This is the one that finally lets Toothless fly completely on his own. The 1st generation automatic tail fin from the short film Gift of the Night Fury. Brown leather, made by Hiccup as an early prototype. Toothless destroyed it. Not because it didn't work, because he didn't want to fly without Hiccup. That choice says everything. The yellow Gronkle iron tail fin from Race to the Edge, designed for flight over water. Extremely quiet, suited for stealth tracking and low altitude ambushes. Not built for distance. The cyan tail fin, designed specifically for tight spaces, canyons, caves, dense forests. Allows sharp stops and sudden direction changes. The green heat-resistant tail fin, first used when Toothless and Hiccup flew into a volcano, withstands lava, open flame, and sustained extreme heat. 8 tail fins, each one built for a specific problem Hiccup identified and solved. Which one is your favorite? Number 9. The music in the 1st film tells you exactly when Hiccup and Toothless become one. This detail is hiding in the soundtrack of How to Train Your Dragon 1. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Hiccup's theme plays during his opening narration. His world, his voice, his story. Toothless's theme plays separately, first introduced after Hiccup cuts him free from the net. 2 characters, 2 separate musical identities, playing independently throughout the early film. Then comes their first real flight together. Both themes begin playing simultaneously, overlapping, woven together into a single piece of music. Because that's exactly what's happening to them. 2 separate identities starting to become something neither of them could be alone. The writers didn't put that in the dialogue. They didn't give anyone a speech about it. They put it in the music and trusted you to feel it. Number 10. A definitive ranking of the weakest Vikings in Bert. No dragons included. Strip away the dragons and rank the Vikings on their own. And the results are more interesting than you'd expect. Hiccup is the obvious answer and genuinely earns it. Physically weak, constantly tripping, easily picked up by almost anyone. His name name alone tells you everything his tribe thought of him before he changed everything. Fishlegs looks imposing, but is genuinely timid. When frightened, he makes small whimpering sounds. In a Viking culture built entirely around physical dominance, encyclopedic dragon knowledge is impressive, but it doesn't win fights on its own. Roughnut and Toughnut are unstable. They inherited legendary Thorsten hard-headedness and will throw themselves at almost anything without fear. But they collapse emotionally at critical moments and are almost entirely driven by impulse, occasionally decisive, unreliable by default. Snotlout is physically stronger than most people his age, genuinely formidable in pure strength, but his arrogance is a structural flaw. He consistently underestimates opponents and puts himself at a disadvantage because of it. The ability is there, the judgment isn't, and the strongest among the weaker Vikings is Dagor. Years as a berserker and a dragon hunter, physically powerful, battle-tested. On paper, he should rank near the top, but one provocation, even a small one, and he loses all rational thinking instantly. His combat ability is real, his control over it is not. The weakest Viking who ever changed the most, still Hiccup, and it was never really close. And that's it. 10 details hiding across the entire How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Which one hit you hardest? The Stoic tribute, the theory about Toothless surrendering, or the music detail from the first film? Drop it in the comments, hit like if you want more, and subscribe because we're